What would you say is a common thread between all filmmakers? If you could pick
compulsion.
Compulsion?
Yeah. I mean, you have to really, I think in order to make a film, you have to be really compelled. It's not something that you do, like, because there's nothing else to do. It's not something you do on a whim. It really has to be something that you feel called to do, because you do make so many sacrifices, you know, and face so many wonderful, like, challenges. It's totally consuming. It's like,
I love that. So can you, wonderful challenges. I like that as well. What is that, what does that mean?
Wonderful challenges?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, making this film is, like, definitely the hardest thing I've ever done, and I've never been more tired, I've never been more stressed out, I've never been more pulled, but I've also never been happier, and I've never been more fulfilled, and I've never been more excited. And it's like, when we were doing pre-production and production, I was like, I'd realized I'd been up for 21 hours, just working 21 straight hours, and I was like,
oh my gosh,
amazing. So, you know, I feel really excited to be able to have that kind of work in my life.
Yeah, do you have a favorite part of the process?
No, I'm so new. I'm still, you know, every part has its, like, ups and downs. It's like, you know, in any one day making a movie, you can, you know, find a spot in the day where you're like, I'm a genius. And then, like, you know, 15 minutes later, you're like, I'm a fraud. So it's just, it's a real peaks and valleys. But I really loved every part of the process. There's, like, the adrenaline and camaraderie of shooting, and then there's the, like, you know, intense, like, detail work that you get to do in post, and, like, wild experimentation when you're editing. And yeah, I think it's all brilliant. I love it.
What was the most challenging part of the process, getting this film to Sundance?
God, you know, I don't know. I think, like, making films is very challenging no matter what, just, like, across the board. It's, you make a lot of sacrifices, and it's, like, physical, intellectual, emotional. It's really intense. But, like, I personally feel really, I mean, it's my first film, and the script had a lot of support and attention early on, and the film now is, you know, premiering here, and so I feel very lucky and really happy to be on that path.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
You know, I'm not sure. If you had asked me 3 years ago if I was going to be doing this, or even if I was going to be directing a movie, I would have thought you were crazy. So I'm very open to just, you know, however this leads. It was a very organic evolution from, you know, how I started writing and working in theater to this point, and so I feel like I just trust that evolution to bring me to wherever I'm supposed to go.
I love that. What advice do you have for anyone that, you know, is thinking about maybe getting into screenwriting or directing, just from what you've learned?
To trust yourself, and to, you know, it's an interesting mix of being really open, because filmmaking is such a collaborative form, and I think that, like, to tell a really good story, you do have to kind of gauge if it's connecting with people, so you have to be open to that, but you also have to really trust yourself and trust your voice, and not be afraid to experiment.
Is it pretty much kind of what you expected this first weekend?
No.
No.
Not at all. It's just so huge. It's, like, really, it's big, and I think also coming from the lab, so having spent a lot of really intimate time with the Institute, I don't think there's anything that could prepare me for how just how big it is and how full, and there's people everywhere, and there's cameras everywhere, and there's just a zillion things to do. And
the question we ask everyone is, if you could have a drink with anyone, who would it be?
Oh no, if I could have a drink with anyone, but
it can be dead or alive.
Maybe Jim Henson.
All right,
definitely Jim Henson.
Where would this take place?
Somewhere close to Kermit.
Well, congratulations to your first Sundance, and I can't wait to see what else you may do in the future.
Thank you. Thanks for the drink.
Yeah.